Hello everyone, happy Valentine's Day, happy Mardi Gras, and happy President's Day. This is my festive Mardi Gras jester hat. We left off with Jane Brand in the secret technology nest of Clofeld in the Swiss Alps, and she was about to go to a cocktail party. And meet 14 handsome devils. At cocktails at 6, she walked into the bar guided by the Swiss woman. She was greeted by a young gentleman that looked very familiar to her. There was no one else there but the three of them. "I see you have met my assistant, Ivana Gedania. Welcome, Miss," he inquired with a raised eyebrow. "Colney," she replied. "Miss Colney Hatch." "I am Mr. Max Wood. Well, I see you have lost your way and stumbled upon our little experiment. Here we are working on some of the most cutting-edge software. Allow me to give you a brief tour." She followed him. Coming through a large brush-steel, automatically sealed door, through electronic lock and retina scan, she found herself in a large computer room filled with whizzing equipment, and then, to her amazement, 14 young, handsome gentlemen all rose at once to greet her. "Hello," they said in unison. "These are my busy little bees," said Mr. Wood. "And what is your name?" she asked, coming up close to a particularly lovely man. But Mr. Wood cut him off. Not your Christian name," he reminded him like a father. The man hesitated, ate his words, then slowly smiled. "I am Belial." "Interesting," she muttered. "Names of demons." "Yes, and this is my lair. They all answer to me and none other. But since it is getting late, it can wait till tomorrow for me to send you and your hang glider back down in my private gondola to your resort, if you would like to dine with us tonight, then return in the morning. There's a dreadful storm brewing tonight." "That would be marvelous," she replied. "Just let me freshen up." "This way," said Mr. Wood, and led her to the laboratory. They will all meet us at the bar. Chapter 7. 13 devilishly handsome men. What happened to number 14? We shall find out. "They will all meet us at the bar," said Mr. Wood, escorting Colney out of the intelligence center and back to the bar. It was one of those leather-padded bars, bogus masculine, and still, because of its newness, smelling like the inside of a new motor car. It was made to look like a Tyrolean stube by a big stone fireplace with a roaring log fire and cartwheel chandeliers with red-stemmed electric candles. There were many wrought iron gimmicks, well-light brackets, ashtrays, table lamps, and the bar itself was gay, in the happy sense, not the other sense, with small flags and miniature liquor bottles. Attractive zither music tripped out from a hidden loudspeaker. It was not, Colney decided, a place to get seriously drunk in. When the leather-padded, brass-studded door behind them closed, there was a moment's hush. Then the door opened again, and Colney turned with dreadful expectation, which turned to delight, as she saw the handsome man enter, only to be disappointed when Ivana, hideous in some kind of homemade, homespun après-ski, in which orange and black predominated, waddled out from among the galaxy, and took her in charge. "Miss Hatch," she grasped her hand with a dry, monkey grip. "How delightful, isn't it? Come, please, and meet my boys." It was tremendously hot in the room, and Colney felt the sweat bead on her forehead as she was sat down and asked, "What would you like to drink?" "Brandy and ginger ale," answered Colney. She waited for her drink. After a few sips, the door slid open again, and they filed in, like young Greek gods out of mythology. First came Belial, as he seemed to be the leader, his suit clearly custom-made by a tailor, and his clothes fit snugly every contour of his body. He ordered a flute of champagne. He was followed by Drekovac, the blond-haired and blue-eyed Russian, who went straight to the bar and ordered his vodka. He was tall and silent. The dark African, Iblis, came next, the whites of his eyes so dark as to seem yellow, like a cat's, or even red, like the devil himself. He was tall but very slender, almost emaciated. He had a certain sway to his walk, comical, sing-song, and his smile had more bright white teeth than seemed possible in any human's mouth. He ordered a beer. Of course, bubbles fit his demeanor. Layak came in slow and wary, his squinted eyes sizing up the room and all its occupants, suspicious as any Iraqi. He sat in the chair in the corner, his back to the wall, so that he could survey the whole room. He did not drink. Zegan, the Antarctican albino, followed, his hair and eyebrows as white as the ice and snow from whence he came. He joined the Russian in a vodka. The Mexican rolled in, or more swayed in, short, round, heavy, smiling, Crony was the name he was introduced with, and he swiftly dispatched of his first vodka. Ah, man after my own heart, smiled Coney to herself. Valak and Shax came in together, the New Zealander and the Australian. Oddly enough, Valak was dark-haired and dark-complected, not the pale, light-haired visage like the Australian. They are all spawn of criminals of the UK after all, thought Coney to herself. They, like Iblis, imbibe the bubbles of sparkling beers. Uriel, the Ecuadorian, was almost as dark as Iblis, and he ordered a sparkling water, clear and light to contrast his looks. The Moroccan, Kolsu, was almost as dark and stood next to Uriel, taking a very dark and strong coffee in a very small cup. Gascoigne was dark for a Frenchman, and he joined the Moroccan in a strong dark cafe. After a long few moments, the last came in, a South Polar, long white hair and flowing white beard, looking more like a wizard. His name was given as Ashtaroth. The best was last, as for Coney thought. He was tall, beautiful, tan, Brazilian. He took her hand, kissed it, and smiled most flirtatiously. Delicious, thought Coney, and she was reluctant to release the hand of Rusalka. And yet her eyes strayed back again to the gorgeous American, Belial. Coney was in a sea of beautiful sunburned faces and a succession of splendid, sweatered young chests, bursting with muscle. Each one seemed to be a different country or the continent. 13, my lord, she finally spoke, an unlucky number. There's no such thing as luck, replied Mr. Wood. But then 13 is such a delightfully evil number, don't you think?